So this video was supposed to take place with the backdrop of the Huntsville State Prison, the Walls unit behind me. But it turns out that the guards at Huntsville State Prison get a little bit cagey about a guy setting up video equipment, scanning the perimeter with his gimbal and... Okay. I tried to explain to them that this was going to be a purely historical video about John Wesley Hardin and his time there, and kind of going over his multiple escape attempts and how he may have done them better. And that did not assuage their concerns. They told me to leave. So I started thinking, what is some other place that might be able to effectively communicate the sort of institutional aspects of a prison? Some place that also thrives on people's egos and multiple layers of hierarchy and arrogance and forming and reforming young people's minds, and just a general air of misery. And it hit me, the academia. That's the perfect one-for-one comparison to the State Correctional Facility. So I'm here at Sam Houston State University. Go Bearcats! That little joke has nothing to do against the people of Sam Houston State University, but against universities in general. We're going to be talking about John Wesley Hardin, and as we look at some of these similar red brick buildings, as you may see in the State Correctional Facility, imagine them to be the prison buildings that we are talking about from John Wesley Hardin's time at the Huntsville State Prison. So this is not going to be a comprehensive video on the history of John Wesley Hardin. Instead, we're going to be, as with a lot of these episodes, taking a specific look at his relationship to this community, so to Huntsville. Just to get the broad strokes out of the way, John Wesley Hardin was born in 1853 in Bonham. And becomes one of the most renowned gunmen of the Old West, and in a very short amount of time. So from just about the end of the Civil War to 1867, 68 to 1874. Between then, before he was 20 years old, he had killed supposedly over 20 men, maybe as much as 50 men. There was a manhunt because he ended up killing Charles Webb, who was a deputy in one of the West Texas counties, and he was part of the Reconstruction government. So these men that were put in place by the carpetbaggers and by the Unionists, and these people, some of them from the North, lots of corruption going on, and a lot of animosity with these people who are now using martial law, using federal troops to enact what they want in Texas, taking people's farms. Well, Charles Webb was in with all of these Reconstruction government types. He was handpicked by Governor E.J. Davis for his job, and John Wesley Hardin ends up killing him while he's in captivity. That happens in 1874. There's a manhunt for 4 years. He's eventually apprehended in Pensacola, Florida. He's brought back to Comanche, Texas, and put on trial. And he is sentenced to 25 years for the murder of Charles Webb. And that would take place at the Huntsville State Prison, the Walls Unit. Hardin talks about his journey from Comanche to Huntsville, and that all of these people were coming out to see him. The first leg of the journey had to be entirely done by wagon, so chained up to the other prisoners and in a wagon going from Comanche to Fort Worth. And all these little towns that they would hit along the way, people would wait for hours to see the John Wesley Hardin. Because a lot of Hardin's victims were deputies and sheriffs and people who were in with the Reconstruction government, he kind of got sort of a Jesse James Reconstruction vigilante sort of aura about him. Now, Hardin probably would have killed them whether they were duly elected or put up there by a corrupt government. They were the law. He wasn't necessarily the patriotic type, although he played to it when it served his means, and it certainly did on his journey to Huntsville prison. At one point, there is a woman who said that she waited for hours to see him and would have paid $100 just to shake his hand. And so being able to touch him, and she said to him that you are so handsome. And Hardin replied, "Thank you, my wife thinks so as well." In another one of the towns, again, waiting for hours. And then once they were there, this prisoner, shackled up, is there shaking the hands of these people for hours before getting back on the wagon, making their way to Fort Worth. Once they were at Fort Worth, they were able to get a train to take them here to Huntsville. I believe it's October 4th, 1878. John Wesley Hardin is installed in the Walls Unit as prisoner 7109. And there he would remain, many times against his will, despite many attempts otherwise, which we will be getting into in just a moment, for the next several years. When Hardin first arrived at the Walls Unit, he actually wrote to his wife saying that he was somewhat surprised at the treatment of the prisoners at the unit. He said that they were actually given 3 square meals a day, and that there was a large library for them to study, and that if they were sick, they would be taken care of, that they had nurses and doctors. So he must have had an idea in his mind that was even worse than the reality of the Walls Unit. He indicates, or rather he doesn't indicate to his wife that he has any plans to try and leave Huntsville prison before his tenure is up. But that wasn't necessarily the case. Almost immediately, he started making plans for an escape. Escape attempt number 1, he was going to tunnel underneath the wagon wheel shop. So that's what he was assigned to, was the wagon right. He was going to tunnel from there to the armory, something like 5 walls, several dozen yards, if not more, to get to the armory, then pop up through the floor, take all of the weapons that were in there, distribute them to the other inmates, and then fight their way out of Huntsville prison. So he writes that he knew that he couldn't trust everyone in the prison. So he only divulged his plans to some of the lifers and the long-term prisoners at the prison. But he tells 75 of them that this is the plan. Not necessarily when the date would occur or who was doing what part of the plan, but the general idea of tunneling and then getting to the armory, distributing the arms and fighting their way out. 75 of these prisoners. And you know, they got pretty far along in it. They were, some say, at least 3 hours away from all they had to do was saw the boards of the floor at the armory, and then they would be on their way to fighting it out with the prisoners. They had this elaborate system of communicating with each other. Reminds me a lot of The Great Escape. So while they were in the tunnel, they would have these ropes, and if they felt 2 tugs of the rope, they knew they had to stop and try and make their way back out. So they had gotten through 5 walls, so underneath 5 walls, all 2 feet thick, and were this close to getting to the armory and fighting their way out. But no, remember when I said that he only told 75 of his closest inmate friends, which he's only been there like 2 weeks, so how can you really judge a man's character and how honest they're going to be? And then he says that he was only going to trust the lifers and the long-termers because they had the most to gain from breaking out. And it's like, Wesley, Booby, those are the ones that have the most to gain by turning you in. And that's what happened, is that he gets turned in very close to breaking out, and he is sent into solitary for a few weeks, only bread and water, and then is put in a different cell and given a different job. Almost immediately, attempt number 2. So he decides that was you know, too much fighting involved in that, and too many people. You know, you got to know who you can trust. So he is in the same cell with a guy named John Williams, and he is also part of this punishment. He has to wear a ball and chain all the time. So he's wearing a literal ball and chain, but Hardin had figured out how to break the lock on the ball and chain and secure it with a bolt instead. So he could slip in and out of his ball and chain anytime that he wanted. And then he also figured out how to make copies of all the keys. So the key to the padlock, to his cell, to all the other cells on his block, and to the main doors of the prison. And he had all of the keys in hand by December 26th of 1878. Remember, he's only gotten in there in October 4th of 1878. And so he is about to complete his second escape attempt by December 26th. But day after Christmas, you know, it's like these criminals, you just can't trust them. And so John Williams turned him in. And this time the punishment was a lot more severe. So Hardin was laid out, he was stripped, and he was flogged 39 times. He then had to spend several days in solitary. It was very cold that December, and was then brought out, and he really didn't recover until February. After that, he was almost done with his escape attempts. It would take another 1.5 years for him to really think about what the next one would be. So that would be escape attempt number 3. This time, Hardin decided, enough with the breaking out. Even if I had all these keys and could just walk out, you have to trust too many people. I know what I'll do. I'll bribe one of the guards. So I don't know how, I don't know what with, if he had some money from some of his previous exploits, or if he's in contact with people on the outside. But escape number 3, he bribes one of the guards to let him out. And he actually made it to the main yard before he was caught. And if I'm one of the guards, I'm thinking, sure, John Wesley, I'll take your money and I'll let you out. And then as soon as he's out of earshot, call everybody in. Now he's got all the money, and he's got all of the rewards of being the one who caught John Wesley Hardin. So Hardin had a real hard time figuring out who can you trust in prison. If you can't trust the prisoners, you can't trust the guards, what's going on in this world? So that was escape attempt number 3. Then escape attempt number 4 is even longer. It's like 1883 or 1884. And we're going to fight it out. So we just have to get a cache of weapons, and then we're going to fight it out. So he starts talking it over with some of the other criminals in the prison to get a box of weapons delivered to the saddlery, I believe. And as he's talking with these criminals, he actually catches wise that maybe these are not the best guys to be making these plans with. That maybe they don't have John Wesley's best interests in mind. So he kind of skips out on the plan. The weapons do come. The other guys that are in on the plan, they open them up, they start distributing them. They hand one to John Wesley. He says, "I want no part of it." They break out of the saddlery. They start making their way towards the southwest gate, and they're shooting it up in the air, and they're all captured within moments. But John Wesley doesn't really get in trouble for that one, because he wisely realized that it would not be a smart idea for him to be a part of it. So those were John Wesley Hardin's 4 escape attempts. What happens afterwards? Well, he starts devoting himself to getting out the legal way by getting a pardon. That if you have good behavior, he starts working in the shoe shop. He actually sends shoes to the children. So his children that he had with Jane, he would send them shoes every year and try and impart some fatherly advice from this man for them who they really didn't know. He had been out on the run their entire lives, and now he's been in the pokey for most of their childhood. But got these letters with instructions of do as I say, not as I do, and here's some shoes for you. And then just started studying the law. And he was working on his pardon. He would eventually also be convicted of another manslaughter, I believe, and that they decided that he would serve that concurrently with what he was serving already as part of his previous sentence. But his wife, who really, from all of his accounts and everyone's accounts I've seen, was a saint for putting up with all this. She got very ill trying to take care of all the children and everything, and she ends up passing away in 1893. And Hardin then devotes even more time and effort to trying to get his parole, which he achieves. So 10 years early he gets out for his good behavior. In February of 1894, Governor James Hogg gave John Wesley Hardin a pardon for any crimes that he committed. So altogether, Hardin was in the Huntsville prison for, I believe it is 16 years, 4 months, 4 weeks, and 6 days. 3 weeks and 6 days, something like that. Meaning that John Wesley Hardin was in the Walls unit, was in Huntsville, more than he was in any other place in his storied career, more than any place he ever grew up in. If any community can lay claim to John Wesley Hardin, ironically, it would be Huntsville. But all of that, the time that he spent here was as a prisoner. He was let out and then had studied the law, passed the bar, and went out to El Paso and would be shot within a year. That's a story for another time. Well, that just about wraps it up for me on this episode of Chandler's Travels. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. All that helps in helping us. It does. It helps in helping us build the channel, and it's very warm today. So I don't have a whole lot more to say to you. Just expressing my gratitude for you watching this video. That does it for me. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, vaya con Dios.